I'm going to start. Hare Krishna. Okay, great. So we are discussing chapter number 2, and Lord Krishna has just begun to explain the important concepts of the Bhagavad Gita to Arjuna. Yeah. So if you see in the previous set, we've seen Arjuna is totally dejected. He does not want to fight, and predominantly he gives 5 reasons to not fight. Yeah, who remembers 5 reasons?
Compassion
Very nice. Compassion. Compassion for
for the death of his friends, relatives, and all other family
yes,
members.
very nice. Huh? So much of dukkha is going to come because a war is not a very happy thing to happen. So many people are going to die. So many relatives are going to cry for their friends, relatives, children. Yeah, parents will be crying. Wives will be crying because husbands have died, children have died. Yeah, so much of dukkha is going to happen because of the war. So Arjuna is very, and so much of pain. Yeah, so much hands will get cut, somebody's legs will going to get cut. So much of pain is going to happen. So Arjuna is not wanting to give pain and not wanting to have the war. Good. Compassion is one key reason Arjuna does not want to fight. And then
Loss of
Loss of
enjoyment.
enjoyment.
loss of enjoyment. Very nice. So loss of enjoyment is what?
If even if he wins the war, then without his other relatives and family members, he is not able to enjoy the
Exactly. No, he will be in
kingdom.
dukkha, right? Because all his family and friends have died. Yeah. Who is he fighting with? He's fighting with his brothers himself. So many death is going to happen in in his family. Maybe the acharyas will die. Dronacharya might die. Bhishma might die. His brothers might die. That could anything could happen in the war. Yeah. So which means even if he wins the war, it's not going to be a very enjoyable experience subsequently. So there is going to be loss of enjoyment. What's the point then of fighting the war if it's going to only give me unhappiness? Very nice. So loss of enjoyment and compassion, loss of enjoyment.
Then fear of sinful reactions.
Very nice. Fear of sinful reactions. Yeah, explain.
Even if we win the war, then also he's not able to share his opulence after victory because all the relatives and friends get killed,
No,
and
that
even
is loss of enjoyment. Fear of sinful reactions we are talking of.
so he doesn't want to. I mean, his behavioral pattern to be tainted with blood of all the soldiers and other relatives, something like that.
Okay.
He is in fear.
Okay, something else? Yeah, something more important. Fear of sinful reactions.
Prabhuji, may I?
Yeah, go ahead, Maj.
So because of killing soldiers, animals, people are dear and near, one will get killed. So bad karma will get come. So
Bad karma, exactly.
Arjuna will be the cause of sinful reaction.
Exactly. Bad karma. Sinful reactions is equal to bad karma, isn't it? So much of bad karma is going to come on Arjuna because he might become the reason for killing so many people. So much of violence is going to happen. The violence, so much of bad karma is going to happen. The bad karma is not good for anybody. I'm going to suffer so much of bad karma so because of the bad karma, and therefore he does not want to fight. Very good. Third reason is fear of sinful reactions, and therefore he does not want to fight. Yeah. So compassion, loss of enjoyment, fear of sinful reactions. And then fourth,
Destruction of dynasty.
very nice, destruction of dynasty. The entire Kuru dynasty might get destroyed. And even subsequent generations might get destroyed because there will be nobody to guide the Kuru dynasty. Very good. Fourth reason, destruction of dynasty. Yeah. Then fifth reason,
Indecisionness.
indecision. Very nice. And why does this indecision come?
Because he's confused what to do, what not
Very
to do.
nice. What to do, what not to do. And it gets triggered because of some event. What is that event? What does he see?
He sees in front of him his grandfather, which is Bhishma and Drona teacher. The very
Very
respectable
nice.
persons are standing, so he's not able to fight with them
Very nice, exactly. Yeah. So he
because of
says,
the
respect,
respect.
they are so respectable, I should not even give verbal fight. What to do of actual fight. So therefore, he is now confused totally, and he is now sitting down, unable to fight at all. And what does he tell, therefore, Arjuna, what does he do now? Does he just sit there?
He's accepting Krishna as his guru.
Very nice, very nice. He accepts Lord Krishna as his guru, and he what does he ask him?
To please guide me about regarding his confusion that what is his
Exactly,
duty, actual duty, and he's in
exactly.
miserliness. So
Exactly. Yeah. So in 2.7, we see Arjuna is saying, I am confused about my duty. I don't know what to do. Should I fight? Should I not fight? All these five reasons are traumatizing me, tormenting me. So therefore, I don't know what I should do. Everybody's ready for the war. There is this army, so many 18 Akshahunis are ready. So 11 here, 7 here. They're all ready to fight. But what is Arjuna? Arjuna is confused. Arjuna is totally confused about his duty. Should I fight? Should I not fight? And therefore, he is asking for instructions. He says, you are my guru. I am a soul surrendered unto you. So he asks for instructions from Lord Krishna. Very nice. And what does Lord Krishna do?
he
What is the first thing
chastises the
Lord?
Arjuna.
He chastises Arjuna. Very nice, very nice. He chastises, yeah, because Arjuna is behaving like a an anarya. He is not behaving in the rightful day, even though he is so much learned. He is not executing his learning, or not applying his learning, basically. So Arjuna is chastised by Lord Krishna. Yes, and then what does he do?
Then Lord Krishna is explaining him the knowledge regarding the
Before
soul.
that, he does something very interesting.
He smiles
Very nice. He smiles knowingly. And what is that smile? How is that smile described
like
by our Acharya?
that is like father smiles towards his kid.
Very
So
nice.
I think something related with that.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, the son has done something, say maybe some mischief he has done. He has broken some pot or whatever, broken some whatever toy, and he's extremely scared. Oh my God, evening father is going to come. Evening father is going to, and the father comes in the evening, and this boy very scared. He is telling his father, "Oh, this thing has happened," and he's like all tears and everything. And what does the father finds it? Obviously finds it very cute, because the toy may be not such a big thing, but the terror that the boy is feeling, or the fear that the boy is feeling, and with that he is telling his father about how his toy has broken. The father just, he finds it very cute. He smiles. So Krishna's smile is like that, because Krishna is, we will see in the fourth chapter, he explains, sorry, seventh chapter, he explains, I am the seed giving father for everybody. So Krishna is our eternal father. He's also the is like a guru. Now guru is like also like a father. So now that he has become a guru, he is executing he's looking at Arjuna in that fatherly manner, and is smiling at him. Yeah. And then what does he do?
Then he started giving knowledge regarding the soul.
Exactly. And then he says, okay, good. Now that I've chastised you and I've seen your position, and I see your sincerity, yeah, in wanting this particular knowledge, so I will now guide you. Yeah, so Krishna starts to guide and starts to give instructions to Arjuna. And we've seen some portions of the instructions to begin with. What are some of the instructions that we have seen?
In 2.13 Shloka Prabhuji, Krishna is telling that like from birth to old age, soul is there. So soul passes into another body at that time. So
Very nice.
one who is self-realized towards that condition does not get bewildered or worried by
Bewildered.
such a change.
Very nice, very nice. He's not bewildered by such a change. And basically, he is fully, cognizant. He's a dhira. And therefore, he tells Arjuna that what is going to die? The bodies are going to die, not the souls. Yeah, who are you actually? You are a spirit soul. So Krishna, first thing is he elevates him from a bodily condition to a spirit soul condition. And what does he begins with? He begins with the concept of the soul. And he tells this very fantastic instruction, Natvevaham jatunasam, Natvam nene janadipaha. There was never a time where I did not exist, nor you, nor these kings, nor in the future shall any of us cease to be. Which means none of them are going to die. And how are they not going to die? Because only their body is going to die. The soul is not going to die. That is what Krishna is going to explain as we progress. So he tells Arjuna, don't look at the body, look at the soul. He gives him a higher platform to comprehend and understand, because everybody will be always existing. All of us will be existing. Maybe not in these bodies, but in some other ways, we will all be existing, is what Krishna explains. Yeah, and of course he starts giving knowledge of the soul. And we see this very nice, very important, most important, one of the foundational concepts of Bhagavad Gita about the concept of the soul. That as the soul, what is it happening to the soul? It's going from old age, from birth to young, boyhood to youth, yeah, and to old age, and then automatically what happens? It is logical that the soul will pass on to another body and then again start the next cycle of birth, old age, disease, and death. Yeah. So the soul, concept of the soul is what gets introduced to us and to Arjuna. Of course, Arjuna knew he is just, yeah, at that moment, out of compassion, out of all of those 5 reasons, he has just got bewildered totally and he has forgotten all of this. So thankfully, Arjuna is being instructed, and that same instruction is also applicable for all of us, because we are also like Arjuna. We've also forgotten our original position. Who are we? And we are thinking we are the body. Yeah, so first instruction for all of us, we are not the body, we are a spirit soul. And that's what Krishna emphasizes in this particular setup to begin with, and that's the important thing. So we've seen in the introduction to Bhagavad Gita, if you remember, there are 5 things, 5 themes of Bhagavad Gita. Anybody remembers that particular 5 themes of Bhagavad Gita?
Ishvara, Ishvara, Prakriti,
Ishvara, no,
Prakat,
no, no. It has to be in order, nice order. It is Ishvara is correct. Lord Krishna always
Jiva,
comes first.
Jiva,
Ishvara,
Jiva,
Jiva, very nice.
Prakriti,
Prakriti,
uh, Kal and
Karma,
time,
Karma,
Karma
and
and
Kal.
Kal.
Yeah, very nice. Yeah, Shamila Mataji had a point. Go ahead.
No, no, I was just trying to complete it. That's
Okay, yeah. So Jiva. So Jiva is one of the important themes which is explained in the Bhagavad Gita, which is what this particular, it starts on the introduction to or the not introduction, or instructions of Krishna starts with, who are you? Who am I? And that's how it starts. And basically he starts off saying that you are a spirit soul. Yeah. And he gives this analogy, yeah, of changing dress. So if you remember the analogy of the changing dress, that all every day what is happening, the dress is getting changed. Now for a soul, the outer body is like a dress. And it just keeps on changing its dress, basically. Sometimes it has a human body, sometimes it has an animal body, sometimes it might have a tree body. But what is happening in all of those bodies, from boyhood to youth to old age, yeah, and then another new body, yeah, soul. So soul is remaining constant. But only thing that is happening is the outer bodies, the outer dress is getting changed. The spirit soul is eternal, it never changes. What changes is only the outer. We all had a small baby body. Where is that gone? That baby body is gone now. Altogether, it's totally gone away. What we now have, this current body, and the body is now growing old and old and old. Yeah, and what will happen at obviously at a certain point of time? It will, the old body, the soul will say, oh, this old dress has become very old now, it's all become torn, everything. Now I don't want this old dress. Yeah, I want to throw away this dress and I want to come up with a new dress. And therefore, a learned man or a dhira does not get bewildered by such a change. So that's what Krishna is introducing to Arjuna, because Arjuna is talking from a bodily concept. He is talking from a perspective that when he makes the point about compassion, he is talking about killing and dying. But who is going to die or what is going to get killed? The body is going to get killed, not the soul. The soul is going to remain as is. Yeah. So that's the point that Lord Krishna, he subsequently also makes this verse, because you know you're a spirit soul and this body is temporary. Therefore, what is a logical thing to what is a corollary or what is the next thing to think of? That if the body is temporary, then whatever is happening to the body is also temporary. Therefore, what do you do with temporary things? We tolerate them, isn't it? So therefore, Lord Krishna makes this point about toleration. Why are you getting so unhappy? Why are you getting so sad? You have to tolerate, he says. That's what he is. The next instruction that he's trying to give is you have to tolerate what? Happiness and distress. And what is the analogy that Lord Krishna gives about tolerating happiness and distress? Lord Krishna gives
It's
an
like
analogy.
the appearance and disappearance of seasons, winter
Very nice.
and
Appearance and disappearance of seasons. So just like winter comes, yeah, then summer comes, then again winter comes, and what we have to do? There's a continuation of the analogy. What is that?
we have to tolerate it like that.
Yes, like what? Like
Like,
Srila Prabhupada gives two examples of that toleration. Anybody?
Hare
Anybody
Krishna,
else?
Guruji.
Yes, Aditya, please go
Prabhuji,
ahead.
Srila Prabhupada mentions about cooking in the summer season
Very nice.
and,
Very
and
nice.
taking bath in the winter season. So
Taking
both
bath
are
in the winter, isn't it? We all take bath even in the winter, the cold. Of course, now of course we have less tolerance now, so we all have heaters and everything. But still, in good old days, everybody would still take bath, go to the river, take bath, in the cold water, and then come out and then still do that. Or a mother, even this is something which cannot be escaped. Even if you have AC, everything, you still have to go in front of the fire and cook. Yeah, if it's your duty to do that particular work for your family, so the father or the mother or whoever is taking care in the family, he has to or she has to cook even in the heat, even if this hot summer still. So what do we still execute our duty, right? It's not that, oh, I'm not going to cook now, let my family starve. Yeah, I'm not going to cook, because you don't do that, right? You tolerate that heat, you still execute your duty, and you basically go ahead. So he's telling Arjuna also that all of this, your unhappiness is coming out because of what? Sense perception, because you're thinking you're the body and the body is feeling uncomfortable, and therefore you are not wanting to fight. Yeah. So that's what Krishna explains. We've seen happiness, distress, they appear and disappear just like seasons, is what Krishna tells us. So that's the another key instruction that Arjuna is getting, that you have to tolerate. That is the point. And of course, now Krishna will further tell us how to tolerate as we as we go ahead. But he dwells on the key concept of the soul. And in the last verse that we saw, 2.16, he talks about the non-existent material body. There is no endurance, and of the eternal, the soul, there is no change. So if there is a uh, differentiate between body and soul, these are the two key points that will come up. Material body, no endurance, and it keeps on changing, isn't it? Because we had a small body, now it's become bigger. So material body keeps on changing and it has no endurance. Why? Because the material body is going to die at some point of time. It's going to go away. Yeah. But of the soul, what is the differentiating factor from the soul? There is no change. The soul remains as is. It remains in the body as is. We remain in the body. We are the soul, not that I have a soul. That's the differentiating aspect we have to consider. It's not that I am the body and I have a soul. No, I am a soul and I have this body. That's the change of thought process that Lord Krishna is trying to tell us. Yeah, and therefore, of the soul, there is no change. Yeah, and there is, it always keep on continuously existing. It's eternal. So body is temporary, soul is eternal. Body keeps on changing, soul does not keep changing at all. So that's the key thing that Lord Krishna explains in 2.16. We discussed in detail about 2.16 also. So let's progress then to the next verse. But before that, any key questions or thoughts that you've had?
Prabhuji, you explain Sambandha verse as a sloka number 16. So can you please repeat that? I mean, in relation with Sambandha verse.
Yeah, Sambandha, because he's talking about the soul, right? Who am I? Yeah. So Sambandha talks about three key. We discussed Sambandha, Abhideya, and Prayojan in the last class. Sambandha discusses about who am I, who is Lord Krishna, and what is my relationship with Lord Krishna. So anything that covers these three questions, who am I, who is Lord Krishna, and what is my relationship to Lord Krishna, then they all become Sambandha verse. They all become Sambandha topics, basically. Here, because it is talking about the soul, it is different, it's helping us understand more about the soul. It is differentiating in contrast. So we learn that, right? Like in many topics, many topics are taught as contrasts. What is not light? So light is not this, light is not this, light is not that, not. And therefore you understand, oh, this is what light is. Same way, in contrast to the body, the soul is explained. Yeah. So because the soul is explained, it becomes a Sambandha verse. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, fantastic. Any other questions? No? Okay, very good. So let's then progress. Yeah, these are foundational topics. We really therefore need to comprehend, understand, do a lot of thinking on this particular aspect. What does it mean that I am a soul? So please do manan on this particular aspect. So now Krishna is giving us further information about the soul now. And he talks about in 2.17. Let's see, what does he talk about in 2.17? Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Vandana Mataji can read this sloka.
Hare Krishna. Verse 17. Avinashi tu tadvidhi yena sarvam idam tatam vinasham avyayasyasya na kaschid kartum arhati.
Very nice. Very nice. Translation.
Translation by Srila Prabhupada. Jai Srila Prabhupada.
Yeah.
That which pervades the entire body, you should know to be indestructible. No one is able to destroy that imperishable soul.
Yeah, so Lord Krishna is now giving additional info. Now you have to make a mind map. If you all have taken, please take notes. Yeah, in the note, now everybody has seen a mind map, what a mind map is? Yeah, if not, let me just quickly show you what a mind map is. Yeah. It's like a diagram like this. Let's see one example. Yeah. Yeah, it's like a diagram like this. What is, I don't want, except, okay, let's look at. Yeah, so it's like a diagram like this. There's a central concept. Yeah, so central concept here is additionally expanded. Okay, maybe this is not a great example. Let's see an image. This is a good mind map. Yeah, this is a good example. Yeah, so this is what a mind map is. There is a central concept. So soul is a central concept now. Yeah, and then there are information about the soul. So you'll look at information. Now we've seen two aspects about the soul: indestructible and eternal, isn't it? So you can write that. That's it, indestructible, eternal. Something more information that comes as the next thought. So like that, you can keep on expanding topics around the soul, and in one picture, you can be able to see, you will be able to understand what this soul is. So as we progress in our discussion, I want you to make a mind map on your notebooks. Yeah, and then maybe take a picture of that mind map and send it to everybody in our group. about your mind map as we are progressing. So that's that's one of the things that we can do to kind of understand our own this concept better. Yeah. So now comes this next aspect. So in your mind map now comes the next branch. That what is it? The soul is pervading the entire body. Yeah. And it is what? Indestructible. Yeah, so no one is able to destroy that imperishable soul. So two more topics for us to comprehend or us to understand. A, soul is indestructible. B, it pervades on the entire body. So this is how yeah, we can see this. Everybody can see the picture here, verse 270. Yeah. Yeah. So, yeah, soul is pervading the body and it is all over this particular place. We also discussed in our last class about the position of the soul. So, where is the soul located?
In the heart.
In the region of the heart. Okay. Very good. Very good. Yeah. And what is the size of the soul? All of this should go into your mind map. Size of the soul?
It's a 1 to 10,000 part of the hair. Tip of the
100,000
hair.
part.
Yes.
100,000 part of the year. Yeah. 100 by 100. Yeah. So
100.
1/10,000 part of the hair. Yeah, of the hair, tip of the hair. So that's the size. And it is spread all over. So the consciousness, the soul, symptom of the soul is consciousness. It is spread all over the body. So that is what is Lord Krishna also explained. It is pervading the entire body. So therefore, if you see our last time's question that, oh, the soul is in the heart, when the heart transplant happens, does it mean a new soul comes in or a new thing comes in? And thankful to Aditya Prabhuji, some fantastic Srila Prabhupada explanations in the ones which he sent in the group. I really like the one where Srila Prabhupada explains that the heart is like a seat of the soul. Yeah. So which means what happens in a heart transplant? Only the seat is getting exchanged. The soul is there only, but only the seat is getting changed. Now, seat of the soul is getting changed basically. Because even when the other heart comes, that heart does not have a soul because that soul is gone, right? That person has died. That soul has gone away. Only that heart is whatever. The seat is remaining. And what are you doing? You're just changing the seat of the soul basically in this particular case. Yeah. So it's not that when a new heart is put in, a new soul comes in. The same soul just it gets a new seat. Yeah, to sit in the heart. So that's one fantastic explanation Srila Prabhupada gives for us to comprehend about this particular aspect. Yeah. So that's what. So it is pervading all over the body, and it resides in the region of the heart, and it is 10,000 part of the hair, tip of the hair. It is indestructible. So many properties of the soul are now getting discussed here. Yeah. So that's what here Srila Prabhupada also talks a bit more about in the purport. Let's see the purport. Sorry, Vandana Mataji had a point. Go ahead.
Yeah, I was just saying, like when we think about transplantation of heart, so you are taking out one organ and you are putting it another body, but you cannot do with the soul. This cannot be
Exactly.
done with the soul. You cannot pick up a
Exactly.
soul and put it in another body.
Exactly. Very nice.
Nobody can do it.
Nobody
So
can do it. Exactly.
that way also, if we see, then of course the seat wala thing is we can understand, and the other way of understanding, I am thinking like this: ki you
Nice,
can
nice. Yeah,
have
yeah,
the soul.
exactly.
So what about you? You cannot place it anywhere. So
Exactly. Exactly.
It shares the space with heart.
no,
Sorry,
it
Prabhuji had a
doesn't.
point. Go ahead.
No, it's very difficult to explain anatomically कि ऐसा नहीं है कि heart अगर यहाँ पर है तो soul is here. Okay, that's the position, but you cannot handle it with your hands.
You cannot touch. Exactly. It's very subtle. Yeah. So if you see the subtle, it's so subtle that, I mean, right now I don't think we have instruments to measure or even identify that. But it's so subtle. Just like mind is subtle or intelligence is subtle, you cannot touch and feel, right? But you know there is a mind, there is an intelligence. Same way the soul exists basically. That is the understanding also. Yeah. Very nice. Yes, yes, Madhu. You cannot take one, you cannot take surgically take one soul out and put it in another.
No.
That only nature, Prakriti can do it as part of the transmigration process, basically.
Yeah, that's and that also is proven by the fact that after heart transplant, the heart doesn't think. The person thinking doesn't change.
Exactly,
वो
exactly.
तो mind
Yes.
थोड़ी, you have
That
not
is what is.
affected the
That is
mind.
also. That is also
Very nice.
proof
Yeah,
to this
yeah,
fact.
yeah, correct. Your
Yeah,
feelings and all
exactly.
will
That
change.
will not change.
Yeah, your
That
feelings
will
are
not change.
changing. Yeah.
Very nice. The mind and all of those, only the seating place of the soul changes. That the soul itself
Emotions,
remains as is
yeah, the
all over the
emotions
body.
don't change. Yeah, correct.
Exactly, exactly, exactly. Very nice. Yeah. So that's the part. Let's see further information about the soul that that Srila Prabhupada gives in the purport. Mataji, can read the first paragraph.
Yes, Prabhuji. This verse more clearly explains the real nature of the soul, which is spread all over the body. Anyone can understand what is spread all over the body, that is, it is consciousness. Everyone is conscious of the pains and pleasures of the body, in part or as a whole. This spreading of consciousness is limited within one's own body. The pains and pleasures of one body are unknown to another. Therefore, each and every body is the embodiment of an individual soul, and the symptom of the soul's presence is perceived as individual consciousness. This soul is described as 1/10,000th part of the upper portion of the hair point in size.
Hmm. Yeah,
Short
hold on. Yeah, so that's that. Let's focus on this particular part. How does the soul show its presence? So, for example, if a wind is blowing, we can see leaves are moving. We can feel the wind on our face. We cannot see the wind. We cannot touch. We cannot grab the wind or whatever. But we know the wind's presence. Why? Because we can see leaves moving. We can see some feeling on our face. We can see some, if you have kept paper, the paper flies away. So all those are symptoms of the wind, isn't it? So same way, what is the symptom of the soul? The symptom of the soul is consciousness. The entire body is alive. Alive means now when I cut, if I take my small toe or my small finger, if I cut or if I pinch it, I can feel the pain, isn't it? The pain is the part of that consciousness. So that's how the soul is basically making its presence felt in the body through the process of consciousness. If the soul goes away and only the body remains, you can cut the body, you can bleed the body will not feel anything. Why? Because the soul has gone away, the consciousness has gone away, the property to feel pain has gone away, basically. So that's the other understanding of the soul as to how do we check whether the soul is there, because there is pain, there is a feeling, and the pain is described as that particular conscious. And then we saw this, we've seen in our last class also, the 10,000 portion of the hair, Shveta Svatara Upanishad, as well as the other Upanishad which talks about the size of the soul. There are innumerable particles of spiritual atoms which are measured as 1/10,000 of the upper portion of the hair. So again, this is Vedic understanding, the Vedic axiomatic truths. Unfortunately, we've not seen or measured this yet from a scientific perspective, but we take that as the Vedic understanding, Shruti, and we've seen Shruti is basically what is the mentioned in the Vedas, and we accept those as axiomatic truths. Yeah. So yeah, that's what is the understanding. The Munduka Upanishad actually has a lot of information about this particular aspect. So let's see another analogy to understand the aspect of the soul, which is mentioned in the second paragraph. Here, yeah, Mataji can read ahead. Therefore, the individual particle.
Therefore, the individual particle of spirit soul is a spiritual atom smaller than the material atoms, and such atoms are innumerable. This very small spiritual spark is the basic principle of the material body, and the influence of such a spiritual spark is spread all over the body, as the influence of the active principle of some medicine spreads throughout the body. This current of spirit soul is felt all over the body as consciousness, and that is the proof of the presence of the soul. Any layman can understand that the material body minus consciousness is a dead body. And this consciousness cannot be revived in the body by any means of material administration. Therefore, consciousness is not due to any amount of material combination, but to the spirit soul. In the Mundaka.
Hold on. So that's the clear discussion even Srila Prabhupada makes, that consciousness comes from what? Not from any material combination or chemical reaction or chemical combination or whatever. It is a separate entity altogether. And if there is a perfectly well-formed body but does not have a spirit soul, then that formed body is also of no use. It is thrown away basically. Yeah, so the consciousness is what gives life to a body and gives value to a body basically. If that consciousness is not there, we burn the body or bury the body or throw that basically. That's the important part here. Mundaka Upanishad I was talking of, it talks about this soul which is floating in the body. It gives additional information now about the soul. Now, what does it say? The soul is atomic in size and it is floating in 5 kinds of airs. So these pranas, they are called pranas, the prana vayu. And the 5 types of prana vayu: prana, apana, vyana, samana, and udana. This again part of the subtle body structure. Just like you have so when we want to study the body, we look at the bones or we look at the nervous system, isn't it? Like that, if you want to look at the subtle body, you look at the various aspects from the Mundaka Upanishads about the pranas, about the chakras, and about the nadis. That's how the Mundaka Upanishad talks about. And one of the key information Mundaka Upanishad gives is how this soul, it floats in the body. It floats on these 5 airs which are circulating in the bodies. And if any of these airs are problematic, you get those kinds of diseases basically. That's what is the understanding. But that's what here the soul basically is purified from the contamination of the 5 kinds of material air. It is spiritual influences exhibit. So soul floating in the material container, yeah, in the material container. As long as the soul is there in the material container, the body is active. Body can feel pleasure, feel pain, enjoy, and all of this. Once the soul goes away, everything goes away. So this Hatha Yoga system, and there are various systems in our yogic paddhati. There is 8 aspects of Hatha Yoga, which starts with yama, niyama, pranayama, and so many things. It basically controls the airs in the body, and in the subtle, in that way helps us in basically controlling the health of the body, controlling the health of the subtle body also, because the subtle body also needs administration, right? So like that. Yeah. This is what the understanding of the soul is. So another aspect comes about the soul is how does the soul move? Yeah, let's look at the last paragraph here. Yeah, Mataji can read this one, the influence.
The influence of the atomic soul can be spread all over a particular body. According to the Mundaka Upanishad, this atomic soul is situated in the heart of every living entity, and because the measurement of the atomic soul is beyond the power of appreciation of the material scientists, some of them assert foolishly that there is no soul. The individual atomic soul is definitely there in the heart along with the supersoul, and thus all the energies of the bodily movement are emanating from this part of the body. The corpuscles which carry the oxygen from the lungs gather energy from the soul. When the soul passes away from this position, the activity of the blood generating fusion ceases. Medical science accepts the importance of the red corpuscles, but it cannot ascertain that the source of the energy is the soul. Medical science accepts the importance of the red corpuscles, but it cannot ascertain that the source of the energy is the soul. Medical science, however, does admit that the heart is the seat of all energies of the body.
Yeah. So that's that's additional information. Now, where does the soul sit? From the heart. All of the entire pumping happens, and the entire, basically the crux of the entire living is through that particular heart. So that's the aspect. And basically, just like sunshine is there, just like the sun spreads the sunshine, or spreads itself across the entire universe as sunshine. Same way, the energy in the body is basically spread through consciousness. Yeah, through the sun. If the soul is considered as the sun, the sunshine, or the expansion of the consciousness in the entire body is what energizes the body, what makes the body alive. That's how Vedic understanding comes in. And here, that's what the individual minute spirit soul is explained as an expansion of the super soul himself, or the Lord himself. Just like there's a big fire, from the big fire, sparks are coming out, right? They are minuscule, minute sparks. So the same way, those sparks, but the sparks carries the fire itself, and it can, get ablaze also fully. That this spark is what is considered to be the soul. There is this entire big, say, the super soul or Lord Krishna as this big fire, and from him are emanating these minute spiritual sparks, or spirit souls, which are part and parcels of the Lord, exactly same as the Lord, but quantitatively they are very tiny. The Lord is a big fire, and all the spirit souls are just small atomic rays of the sun. That's how the additional information Srila Prabhupada gives about the soul. Let's look at what does he say, what does Lord Krishna say further in the next shloka. Yeah, Indu Mataji can read this one.
Hare Krishna. अंत अंतवंत इमे देहा नित्यस्य उक्ता शरीरिणं अनाशिना अप्रेमस्य तस्मात् युद्धस्व भारत.
Very nice. So therefore, now that you know what the soul is and what the body is, what does he say? Go ahead.
Translation: the material body of the indestructible, immeasurable, and eternal living entity is sure to come an end. Therefore, fight, O descendant of Bharata.
Yes. So now, if in 2.16 he says that the body is going to be non-endurable, which means what? The material body is going to die. But what will remain is this indestructible, immeasurable, eternal living entity. We are all going to remain. And therefore, he makes that statement in 2.12 that Natvivaham Jatu Nasam, that all these kings, they're all going to remain. I'm going to remain. You are going to remain. Who is the you here? The you as the spirit soul. We are all going to remain here. What is going to change? This material body. Yeah. And whether you fight or don't fight, that material body is going to go away. Because it is unendurable. It is always constantly change is happening. Just like this particular picture was shown. Irrespective of whether you fight or don't fight, the old body is going to get old and is going to die. So therefore, Krishna is kind of telling that if that body is anyway is of no value, why are you worried about? Yeah, anyway it's going to die, and if it dies in the battlefield, it's taken its own karma. It's anyway going to die. It is sure to come to an end, and therefore Arjuna, he says, please fight. Yeah, so he says, don't lament for, and he mentions also in the previous, don't lament for the external dress of the body of the person. When we are saving a person, if he's drowning, you don't save the shirt of the body, right, of that person. You save that person, right? Same way, Arjuna is being instructed by Lord Krishna that the outer body is going to die. That is of no value. What is of real value? The spirit soul. That is going to keep on living continuously. Now, that is what he says in this purport. Also, Srila Prabhupada explains that. Go ahead, Mataji, just read the first few lines of the purport.
The material body is perishable by nature. It may perish immediately or it may do so after 100 years. It is a question of time only. There is no chance of maintaining it indefinitely. But the spirit soul is so minute that it cannot even be seen by an enemy, to say nothing of being killed. As mentioned in the previous verse, it is so small that no one can have any idea how to measure its dimension. So, from both viewpoints, there is no cause of lamentation, because the living entity, as he is, cannot be killed, nor can the material body be saved for any length of time or permanently protected. The minute particle of the whole spirit acquires this material body according to his work, and therefore, observance of religious principles should be utilized. In the Vedanta Sutras, the living entity is qualified as light because he is part and parcel of the supreme light. As sunlight maintains the entire universe, so the light of the soul maintains this material body. As soon as the spirit soul is out of this material body, the body begins to decompose. Therefore, it is the spirit soul which maintains the body. The body itself is unimportant. Arjuna was advised to fight and not sacrifice the cause of religion for material bodily considerations. Hare
Yes,
Krishna.
so very logical explanation by Lord Krishna, that you are looking at only the outer part. You take a higher position. You look everybody as souls. Yeah, and when you look at them as the souls, you're never going to destroy souls. You can, because the soul cannot be destroyed, cannot be killed, cannot be even identified. That's what Lord Krishna. So anyway, the body is going to die. Anyway, it's of no value. You're not killing the soul. So why are you lamenting? That is the point. Arjuna is that's how Arjuna is being explained very logically by Krishna, and slowly, one by one, he is destroying all the doubts of Arjuna. What was the doubt of Arjuna? He was compassion. He was, oh, so much of pain is going to happen, so much of killing is going to happen, all of these people are going to get killed. But Krishna is saying you are looking at the wrong thing. No, don't look at that body is anyway going to die. The soul is not going to. You are, maybe you are elevating the soul if they execute their duties. And if you're not going to give them a chance to execute their duties, then it's going to be a problem for them. So let's see further how does Krishna explain this particular aspect further in 2.19. Yeah, Ashish Prabhuji, please read.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
या एनं वेति हन्तारं यश्चैनं मन्यते हतम् उभौ तो न विजानीतो नायं हन्ति न हन्यते.
Very nice.
Translation. Neither he who thinks the living entity the slayer, nor he who thinks it slain is in knowledge. For the self slays not, nor is slain. Sorry, Prabhuji, my voice is not in a good condition.
No problem. It is comprehensible. Very nice. For the self slays, nor is slain. Yeah. So very important. Now Krishna explains about the killing of the body. So he says very importantly that if you think you're killing the soul, you're not in knowledge. The living entity cannot be a slayer, nor he who thinks it is slain is in knowledge. So the living entity cannot be killed, nor can the living entity kill another living entity. That's how. Only the body is, external body is what is getting killed. And therefore, Krishna says that for the self slays, yeah, self as in the soul slays, nor is it slain, nor can the soul be killed. Now, subsequently, we'll see in the subsequent shlokas, the quality of the soul is described by Lord Krishna. But one important quality now, which has come in previously also here, is that the soul cannot be killed. Yeah. So interestingly, in Ishopanishad, we are also studying the Ishopanishad in another class, and we are seeing there that there is one concept called Atmaha, the killer of the soul. So now the question might come, how is there then it's mentioned that there is a killer of the soul? Who is this killer of the soul? Where here Krishna is saying the soul cannot be killed at all. Yeah. So interestingly, and we'll come to that particular point. But here one property now. Let's focus on Bhagavad Gita. It's giving the properties of the soul, and now here we can see one more property, that any fatal weapons cannot hurt the soul, cannot kill the soul, cannot cut the soul. So that's in your mind map. One more line has now come. Cannot be hurt by fatal weapons. embodied soul. So that's how this particular additional subsequent information comes in. Srila Prabhupada says here, the spirit soul is so small and impossible to kill even by any material weapon, as can be evident from the subsequent verses. We'll see in those. But does it mean, therefore, now that I can go and indiscriminately kill anybody and I can hurt anybody? What do you think? Now, oh, you're a spirit soul, nothing will happen to you. Slap. You are a spirit soul, oh, shoot you. Yeah, does it mean that? You're a spirit soul, isn't it? You've got a license now to do any amount of violence. You're a spirit soul, nothing will happen to you. I'm not killing you, I'm killing your body. What do you think?
Prabhuji, we will not kill the body. But if we are doing something like that, then that karma will add it into our sanchit.
Okay, very good. So this is a real fear of sinful reactions, right? That means?
Yeah. And same, we have to then again suffer from birth, old age, disease and death.
So exactly. So the point is, therefore, the fear of sinful reactions of Arjuna is correct. That means, isn't it? And also it means so only because of karma is there, I will not hurt anybody, is it?
No, Prabhuji, Arjuna's fear for sinful reaction is wrong because Lord is instructing him.
Very nice. Okay. So there's an instruction that comes from the Supreme.
He is keeping Krishna in center and do it. And at the same time, here we are just doing for our material sense gratification. We are not doing for Krishna. If you are doing for Krishna, then no karma will, no good karma, no bad karma will added into our sense.
Very nice, very nice. Okay, so that's the real understanding, of course, that is separate. But here, obviously, it does not mean that if just because now that I am a spirit soul, I can go out and do any amount of violence. Yeah, that's the point Srila Prabhupada makes in the but that there is no justification, yeah, of doing any amount of just because you are a spirit soul. That's what it says. Immortality of the soul does not encourage killing of the body. That's the. It does not mean, oh, just because the soul is immortal, I can do any amount of killing and I can do any amount of violence to anybody. Why? Because there is no authority. Yeah, the soul, just like we saw, the body belongs to somebody else. If you're going to kill and hurt somebody else, it's somebody else's property. You are transcending or violating a material karmic law by going out and killing somebody else. Just because the soul is immortal doesn't mean you can go and kill the body of the soul, because the body is a property of that soul, isn't it? It's as good as committing thievery or committing, of course, much more worse than that. So that's the point here it makes. Therefore, killing of the body without authority is abominable. That's what Srila Prabhupada explains. Let's read what Srila Prabhupada says further.
Prabhuji, I just have a question here.
Yeah, go ahead, Prabhuji.
For example, Arjuna was fighting because he was on Dharma side, right?
And also it was his duty.
Yes. Now, for example, a soldier who fights for the country, how do you?
No, he does not get karma. In fact, if he goes and kills enemy soldiers, he is given a medal, right?
Yep.
But if the same soldier uses the same gun and comes home and kills his neighbors, will he be given a medal? No, he will be hanged to death, right?
Yep.
Isn't it? So he does not have authority.
Person, can we say that a person who kind of does this as part of his duty or as a karma,
Exactly.
there is no sinful reaction?
Exactly. There is, see, of course, unless because Krishna is not involved there is some amount of sinful reactions which comes in. It becomes part of. So it's exactly like when the soldier kills in the battle. Yeah, he gets good karma. Why? Because he is killing it from a perspective of, and he gets medals and she's shown valor and all of that. And of course, there is an authorized what I should say, war that is happening. When he goes to the battlefront, if the war is going on, he goes out, kills, he's doing in an authorized manner. Yeah, and he's killing soldiers only. He's not going and killing, civilians, and therefore there is so much of morality around civilians getting killed whenever there is war, right? Because civilians are not bad; they are not soldiers. They are not supposed to be killed, basically. But of course, nowadays is Kali Yuga. Everybody is like full free form. But of course, which means that they get so much of bad karma also along. But here, what happens? When a person who is executed to, who is or say empowered to do this particular fighting, yeah, as just like Kshatriyas are, when they fight in the proper dharmic manner, they actually get good karma. Lord Krishna will explain further that all those soldiers who are going to die in the battlefield, they are going to go to heavenly planets. Why? Because they have died in valor. They have died in a war. They have died while fighting. Not that, but if the same person is killed somewhere else, not in a war, then you are not authorized to do that. Like just like the example I was giving of the soldier, a soldier in the battlefront killing. Oh yes, great. You give them medals and you give them Paramveer Chakra and all of those whatever things. But if he comes back home and does the same thing in his village or in his in near for his neighbors in near his home, then he is hanged basically. He is punished. He's used the same weapon. He's the same soldier, and he's done the same killing. But still, the context is different. So karma is always in a context. Karma cannot be executed just as just from an action perspective. It's not like the other example is like a surgeon, right? A surgeon does cutting of the body, and probably a thief comes and with a knife he also stabs you. He is also cutting, right? Yeah, in that sense, that so should the thief be given money? Oh, thank you for doing operating on me. You don't do that, right? So the surgeon is authorized, he's trained, he knows exactly how to do the surgery or cutting of the body. But the thief is not, and of course his intent is different. So the contextual things becomes very, very different. Yeah. So that's what exactly Srila Prabhupada explains in this particular verse here, that just because the soul is in not killable, can I go and kill bodies? No, you cannot. That is the point he makes here. Let's read this particular point. Yeah, Anadi had a point before we read. Go ahead.
Yeah, if without authority, if someone takes the laws in the hand and he just hurt or kill, so then actually one point just came in the mind that you are checking other person's progress,
Exactly.
which is they are evolving through by the Lord's arrangement. So you are obstructing their
Progress. Yeah.
yeah.
Exactly. Very nice. Yeah. Yeah. So again, you are checking their progress, and therefore, even killing animals from that particular perspective in a non-authorized manner is problematic. Yeah. Because the animal is supposed to go through that karmic reactions in that body, but you are not allowing it to do that. Yeah. Same way, when you kill a person, other person, he's supposed to be going through a particular set of, but you are now taking the karma by killing that person, then all his remnants karma come on top of you, and then that other person doesn't know what happens and what. Yeah. So therefore, killing of anybody, yeah, is problematic. That's what Srila Prabhupada explains in this verse. Let's maybe read this one. Yeah, Veena Mataji, you're okay to read?
Yes, Guruji.
Go ahead.
Okay. Nor is the living entity killable because of his spiritual constitution. What is killed or is supposed to be killed is the body only. This, however, does not at all encourage killing of the body. The Vedic injunction is Ma Himsyat Sarva Bhutani. Never commit violence to anyone. Nor does understanding that the living entity is not killed encourage animal slaughter. Killing the body of anyone without authority is abominable and is punishable by the law of the state as well as by the law of the Lord. Arjuna, however, is being engaged in killing for the principle of religion and not whimsically.
Exactly. Yeah. So that's how the understanding comes that, oh, just because the soul is non-killable, I can do any amount of violence. No, it does not, because you don't have the authority. Yeah, and the authority is given by the state, it's given by the Lord, it's given by the government. There are various aspects of where the authority comes from. So just because the soul is indestructible does not mean that you can go ahead and do any amount of killing. Yeah. So that's the understanding again about the soul and the body, which Lord Krishna gives in 2.19. Of course, Arjuna is specifically told that he has the authority to go and kill. He has, therefore, Krishna is telling, go and fight. The Supreme Lord is going and telling him, go and fight. Yeah, because of course, and it's also not because the Lord is also telling it whimsically. The Lord has also tried its best. If you remember the Mahabharata, just before the Kurukshetra war is supposed to happen, there are full negotiations going on so that the war should not happen. And Krishna goes as the final messenger, saying that, okay, don't give us, we don't want Hastinapur, we are Kshatriyas, so you have to give us at least 5 villages of land so that we can administer those 5 villages and do a Kshatriya duty. Yeah. And what does Duryodhan says? Duryodhan says, I will not even give you, yeah, the on the tip of the needle, that much of land also I will not give you. So then Krishna says, then it is definitely a reason for a proper war, because that is the only way you as Atatai can be executed. It's not that Lord Krishna could have killed him directly at that point of itself, but no, a proper framework arrangement is done so that that war can happen, and the execution of the duties of the Kshatriyas can also happen. Yeah. So let's see now, very important concept, again, very nice verse number 20 that comes in here. Let's read this one. Yeah, Runa Mataji can read.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. न जायते म्रियते वा कदाचित् नायं भूत्वा भवितवान् भूयः अजो नित्यं शाश्वतोऽयं पुराणो न हन्यते हन्यमाने शरीरे.
Very nice. Yeah, translation.
Translation: for the soul there is neither birth nor death at any time. He has not come into being, does not come into being, and will not come into being. He is unborn, eternal, ever existing, and primeval. He is not slain where the body is slain. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Yeah. So therefore, because the soul cannot be killed, what does it also mean? That the soul, there is no birth. There is no point where there is an exist, or the soul is died. That nothing of that also exists. Yeah. He has not come into being, does not come into being, and will not come into being, which means the soul is existing. We have all been existing eternally. As long as this material world is there, we are existing in this material world. As soon as the material world is created, we are, as part of this material world, living there continuously. So that's the understanding of the soul. Yeah. So it's not that there is the soul is born some some janma, somewhere the soul is born. No, we are all part of the spiritual world. In the material world, as soon as we appear in the material world, we have been existing in the material world from that point on. Yeah. So therefore he says he is unborn. He, as in who? He is in the spirit soul. Eternal, because of course there is no death. He is ever existing and primeval. So he will always exist. He is there from the very beginning. He is not slain when the body is slain. So obviously Arjuna is now being given the rightful understanding that when he executes his duty, he is not doing the duty whimsically. He is not killing the bodies whimsically. There is a specific reason why he is fighting. Yeah. And even when he is fighting, he is not going to kill the soul, because the soul cannot be killed at all. So there should not be any reason for him to not, or hesitate to fight. Yeah. So here Srila Prabhupada gives now additional information about the soul, again from a context of non-changeability. So the body is changeable. So Krishna, so Srila Prabhupada is telling how the body changes. Yeah. And he does that in the context of the unchangeability of the soul. So let's read this one. Go ahead, Mataji.
Qualitatively, the small atomic fragmentary part of the Supreme Spirit is one with the Supreme. He undergoes no changes like the body. Sometimes the soul is called the steady or kutastha.
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 Oh, hold on.
The body.
Hold on. The kutastha. So here it says that the small fragmental part of the supreme or the spirit soul is not undergoing any change like the body, which means the body undergoes some change. Yeah. What does the body undergoes change? That is what is described here in the next part of this particular paragraph. Go ahead, Madhji. Yeah, Aruna Mataji, sorry, you're muted. Go ahead.
Yes, Prabhu. Sometimes the soul is called steady or kutastha. The body is subject to 6 kinds of transformation. It takes the birth from the womb of the mother's body, remains for some time, grows, produces some effects, gradually dwindles, and at last vanish into oblivion. The soul, however, does not go through such changes. The soul is not born. The soul is not born, but because he takes on a material body, the body takes its birth. The soul does not take the birth there, and the soul does not die. Anything which has birth also has death. And because the soul has no birth, he therefore has no past, present, or future. He is eternal, ever existing, and permeable. That is, there is no trace in history of his coming into being under
Hold
the
on.
impression of the.
Hold on. Yeah. So that's the contrast that I was talking of. That when you look at the soul and when you look at the body is non-endurable, non-endurable. And therefore, what does it mean? It is non-endurable. It goes into 6 transformation phases. What are the 6 transformation phases? The body is born, which means the body gets created. And when the body gets created, it then remains for some time. It grows. It produces some side effects. So another bodies are produced. It gradually dwindles. It becomes old. And then it vanishes. The body does not remain as part of that particular body. Yeah? When we die, we're going to go into ashes to ashes, dust unto dust. Like mentioned in the Bible. Same thing. The body, the 6 changes happen. But for the soul, there is no concept of this 6 changes. Why? Because it doesn't take birth. The body takes birth. The soul does not take birth. That's the differentiation here. Very, very clearly. And whatever takes birth has to die. And therefore, the soul, because it does not take birth, there is no death for the soul, isn't it? So like that. So that's the clear understanding here about the soul. So soul does not become old because there is no concept of old age for the soul, but it is there for the body. Yeah. That's the understanding. So that's how the differentiation comes in of what does it mean that the body is changeable and what does it mean that the soul is eternal. So if you remember that particular verse where Lord Krishna 2.16, where is that gone? Yeah, 2.16, where the seers, what have they seen? That of the non-existent material body, there is no endurance, which means it keeps on changing, and then finally it vanishes. And of the eternal, the soul, there is no change. The soul remains as is. And that's what is this explanation in 2.20 about what does it mean to be non-changeable. Non-changeable means you do not experience those 6 changes. What are those 6 changes? Sorry, where is that gone? The 6 changes are birth, growth, sustenance. So let me make that bigger. Yeah. So birth, growth, sustenance, byproducts, dwindling, and death. 6 changes that the body undergoes. Soul does not undergo any of these changes. Soul does not become old, body becomes old. Yeah. So that's the a different size again of the soul mentioned as small Anu and Lord Krishna as Vibhu, very, very huge. So if we read that particular point further, Srila Prabhupada talks about how the soul is very, very tiny. That's the understanding part here. Where is that? Yeah. Yeah, so let's look at this particular part, some additional info about one more type of soul which is there, or called the super soul. So let's see what this one says. Yeah, Aruna Mataji, please read.
There are two kinds of souls,
Yeah, correct. Go ahead.
namely the minute particle soul Anuatma and the super soul Vibhuatma. This is also confirmed in Katha Upanishad 1.2.20 in this way. Anor aniyan mahalito mahiyan atmasya jamito nihito bhuyam tat tam akrutah pashyati vito soko
Dhatu.
धातुः प्रसादान्महि मानम् आत्मनः. Both the super soul Paramatma and the atomic soul Jivatma are situated on the same tree of the body within the same heart of the living being. And only one who has become free from all material desires as well as lamentation can, by the grace of the Supreme, understand the glories of the soul. Krishna is fountainhead of the super soul also, as it will be disclosed in the following chapter. And Arjuna is the atomic soul, forgetful of his real nature. Therefore, he requires to be enlightened by Krishna or by his bona fide representative, the spiritual master.
So now more information about the soul. Interesting that the soul sitting in the heart is not alone. Who else is there along with the soul? One more type of soul called the super soul or the Paramatma. Yeah. And of course, we will further understand who is the Paramatma. It's Lord Krishna himself. The analogy given is that, for example, if a rainfall has happened everywhere and there are a lot of puddles of water everywhere, when the clouds go away and the sun comes out, in each of the puddle you can see the sun, isn't it? So the same way, who's the Paramatma? Paramatma is a reflection of Lord Krishna, who is the sun, and we are here in the heart. Yeah. So in every heart of the living being, there are two souls, which is one is Paramatma, the super soul. The Lord himself is residing in our heart, and the Anu Atma or the atomic soul, us, we as a spirit soul. Yeah. So two, just like in a tree, two birds are sitting. Same analogy is that of that in the heart, these two types of souls are sitting. And we'll get to know more about the super soul subsequently, because that's the other topic, isn't it? Of the 5 topics of Bhagavad Gita, we are now looking at Jiva. We'll also see Ishvara in the form of super soul, Ishvara in the form of Brahman, Ishvara in the form of Bhagwan. All of those different understandings of the supreme controller, the supreme personality of Godhead is explained as we go further. But one of the expansions of the supreme Lord is sitting in our heart also, in everyone's heart. And he is called as the super soul. That's what Srila Prabhupada explains. One more information about the soul. So let's look at one last shloka for the day. 2.21 about further now some more information aspect from here. Yeah, Aditya Prabhuji can read this one. Aditya, are you able to read?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Yeah, go
Okay,
ahead.
yes. Veda vinashinam nityam ya enam ajamavjayam katham sa purushah partha kam ghatayati hantikam.
Very nice. Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, Bharat, how can a person who knows that the soul is indestructible, eternal, unborn, and immutable kill anyone or cause anyone to kill?
So now comes this interesting aspect that one who knows the soul, one who knows the concept of the soul, one who knows this particular aspect about who the soul is, he will, this is a rhetorical question by Lord Krishna, he will basically, what that means is if somebody knows about the soul, he will never cause anyone to kill. He will neither kill anyone nor will cause anyone to kill, basically. Yeah. So that's the understanding, because when you are in knowledge, you don't resort to violence. What is that? What does that? There's a famous saying, right? That violence is the tool or of the fools or whatever. It says basically violence, if people who are not knowledgeable, they resort to violence. Yeah. So same thing here, Srila Prabhupada also explains, and Lord Krishna is explaining that one who is in knowledge, he does not execute the killing of anybody. So it's not that Arjuna is causing to kill. Arjuna is thinking, oh, I am going to kill him. Krishna says, no, it's not in your hands. Because once you get to know about all of this, you are not going to do the killing. I am going to do. Krishna, we will see in the 11th chapter. Lord Krishna says that I am already doing all the killing. You are just a nimitta matra. You are just an executor. You are not the person who is killing. And similarly, one who is in full knowledge about the soul, he does not do any kind of killing. That is the point Lord Krishna makes about not killing unnecessarily. Yeah. So Srila Prabhupada also explains nicely about this particular part. He says, he gives two analogies in this particular paragraph. One, he gives about the analogy of when a person is given capital punishment, yeah, by a judge. The judge is giving him a capital punishment, which means he's killing that particular body, yeah, because he's condemned for murder. Yeah. But does it mean that the judge is going to get some karma, or judge is executing his duty. Yeah. And he is executing his duty so that that soul gets benefited when he gets the punishment of that particular capital nature. Here Srila Prabhupada refers to Manu Samhita, and obviously he is in pro capital punishment. He says in Manu Samhita, the law book for mankind, it is supported that a murderer should be condemned to death so that in the next life he will not have to suffer for the great sin that he has committed. Yeah, if we leave a capital punishment guy today, that's what there is this big debate, ethical killing debate is going on. Should we be doing capital punishment or not? And even within the United States, there are some states which allow for capital punishment, some states do not allow. There's still a lot of debate going on whether this has to be done or not has to be. But Manu Samhita is very clear. That particular law book looks at it from a soul perspective. He says if a person has done a heinous act of killing somebody, yeah, then he needs to be punished in this particular life. Otherwise, he carries that karma back onto his next life, to his next janma. Yeah. And therefore, he says this particular aspect of killing has to be done so that the karmic aspect does not get taken up. Now, that's one aspect, one way to look at proper authorized killing of anybody. Yeah, that's one part. Other part is around, the aspect of curing a person. Sometimes you have to, cut a person to cure that person of a disease. But does that mean that cutting of the person is a, heinous crime? No, it is not a heinous crime. Because there is a reason why that particular person has been cut by an expert surgeon. Yeah. So Srila Prabhupada makes that point. He says a surgical operation is not meant to kill the patient, but to cure him. And therefore, Krishna tells Arjuna that you have to look at this entire execution of your duty just like you are trying to cure somebody of their particular set of karmas. Yeah. So, of course, we've seen previously in the first chapter the definition of atatai. Definition of atatai, anybody remembers? Somebody who does 6 kinds of things. What are those 6 kinds? Anybody remembers? Refer to your notes.
One who attacks with the deadly weapon.
Very nice. One
who set fire to the house.
Very nice.
And one who plunders
Wealth.
riches and occupies
nice.
another's land.
Very nice.
Last one is one who kidnaps another's
wife.
other person's
Poisons also is there.
Poison is also.
Yeah. And then was one more. Plunders, riches. There's one more, even I can't remember. Yeah. So Atatai, which means one who has. So now Kauravas have already been described and already established as Atatais because all 6 things they have done. Isn't it? And therefore, when Arjuna is executing the duty of his as fighting, he is fighting there as a punisher, as a judge, as a person who is executing the judge's order, isn't it? Or he is executing the karmic, he's ensuring the karmic reaction of the Kauravas does not take it into their next lives. And therefore, they have to be killed, they have to be executed, or they have to be fought in battle. And therefore, there is no chance of any sinful reactions to Arjuna. So Arjuna is just executing it as a duty. He is not going to do any kind of. So if Arjuna is thinking, oh, I'm going to have so much of sinful reactions. No, you are not going to have. Why? Because you are executing this as a duty. You are executing this as a surgeon, as a person who is authorized to do this particular action of killing or fighting in battle. Yeah. So through the concept of the soul, yeah, Arjuna is now slowly getting transformed or convinced why he should fight, and why how his thinking of not to fight is going to be wrong. So through the explanation of the concept of the soul, so that this particular thread of thought continues for the next few more shlokas around the soul and how the soul behaves, and therefore how it is rightful for Arjuna to execute his duty as a Kshatriya. Yeah, which we will continue further in our next class. Yeah, we are already at 5:30. I don't want to take more time. Any quick comments, thoughts, or realization?
Prabhu, I am having small question. When after death, if someone is going to Lord's abode, so the super soul is taking the soul to his abode.
No, sorry, I missed that, Mataji. Come again.
If after death someone is going to Lord's abode into Golok Vrindavan, so super soul sitting in the heart, is taking that
No, he doesn't
minute
have a
soul.
heart. No? That jiva is, that heart is not, he's going as pure soul, right? He's going as a pure soul.
So
The
Paramatma as
spiritual
a
world.
super soul helps him.
No, Paramatma is next. Yeah, he helps him, but he goes there. But there the Lord is there. No, the Paramatma himself is there in the form of the Lord.
So what happens to, I mean, I am confused with that Paramatma is
So
sitting as
Paramatma
a
is,
super soul.
yeah, see,
So,
Paramatma is there sitting here as a reflection of the Supreme Lord. So the Lord is, we saw the Lord as a Purnam. The reflection of the Lord is as good as the Lord, same as the Lord himself. Isn't the name of the Lord is the same? Yeah. So the Lord, when you go to the spiritual world, the super soul is not needed there because the Lord is there in front of you only in the spiritual world. You get a point?
so super soul.
In the body, the super soul is sitting.
So then super soul, I mean, where is the super soul is going after death?
It doesn't go anywhere. He remains. The reflection goes off, right? Because the puddle does not remain there. The body, if you take the body as the puddle, it is reflecting the super soul, the Supreme Lord, and therefore the super soul is sitting in the heart. When the puddle is not there, the super soul is not there. The reflection is not there of the Lord. But the soul is there. Soul goes to the spiritual world, basically. He doesn't have a body. He might have a spiritual body, but he doesn't need a spirit, so the super soul there, because the Lord is there in front of him in the spiritual world.
So someone is there to carry that soul to the Lord's spiritual world. I mean, for those who are going Narkas, it's Yamraj and their doots. So for those who are going to
Vishnu
comes then.
Vishnu Duta.
Yes.
Yeah, there are messengers. It is explained that to take the soul if he's pure and he's eligible to enter. The Lord's messenger.
Just like there are Yamadutas, there are Vishnu Dutas.
The soul is taken care in the hands of messengers of the Lord, and then they further take him.
Okay.
So, and what happened to Lord? Lord is sarvavyapi. It doesn't matter. He is not restricted to one body with the soul.
Exactly. The sun is there, right? Just like the sun is there take the example of the reflection in the puddle, right? Sun is there, and there is a reflection in the water. When the water gets evaporated, which means the body goes away, what happens to the reflection? The reflection doesn't remain there, right? But the sun is there. And there are other bodies where this reflections are there.
We say no.
So it's only Paramatma act as a reflection. I mean,
Correct.
I'm
And
considering as a
because the
something
Lord
like
is, yeah, and because the Lord is non-different from his name, we've read that, right? How one of the potencies of the Lord is non-different from his name. So when we say Krishna, Krishna is actually present in his holy name. Krishna is present in his paraphernalia. The name Krishna and the Lord Krishna are non-different. Same way, the reflection of the Lord and the Lord are non-different. Yeah.
It belongs to the Lord, no, who is there in the spiritual abode and who owns, all his manifestations, and so they go back, or there is no need. The Lord dissolves, maybe.
Yeah, dissolves could be one aspect. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Okay, let's then close for the
Guruji,
day.
I had a doubt.
Yeah, go ahead, Madhuri.
Veena here.
Yeah, Veena Madhuri.
So we discussed about the authority part, wherein you explained that the surgeon has a right, he's authorized to cut or to examine. So wherein in this context, I wanted to understand what role does the intention part of it play? I mean, surgeon has a good intention and he's authorized also. But in case of a war where there are two parties involved, one is having a war situation where soldiers are there and soldiers are authorized. Either ways, both the parties are authorized. But one of the parties' intention is definitely not a good intention. So authority is understood.
Authority plus
But
no correct intention. Yeah, actually, the intent is decided by the karmic, other separate karmic reactions. Here, the context is the assumption is the intent on both sides is good. So if you see, look at Duryodhana's intent definitely was not good, right? The example that you're giving, it can be taken from Mahabharata itself. Duryodhana's intent was to keep something which did not belong to him, isn't it? And Arjuna and Krishna's side fight was that we want to ensure that dharma is established. So intent on both sides was different, and because the intent was not matching, there was a war, right? So typically that's what happens when intent do not match. There is a need for violence that comes in an authorized manner. But if that intent matches, if Duryodhana's intent was also good and say, okay, no problem, take, then there was no need for the war. Yeah. So because intent do not match, there is a violent situation, typically. And then, of course, comes the aspect of authorization. Is the set of people they are authorized to execute that particular set of violence? Like, for example, somebody might say the terrorists bombing 9/11, those two buildings in America, they were authorized because they said, I'm doing it for the Lord. Yeah. But was it there a warlike situation? Was the people who killed part of the war? They were all not, right? They were innocent people there, obviously, which means their entire execution is wrong. They might be thinking I'm doing a holy war or whatever, but actually that entire execution was wrong. They might be thinking their intent is right, but they've been misguided, basically. So obviously the entire intent aspect is not matching, basically. Isn't it?
Okay. Got it.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, of course, I mean, the right intent and the authority gives you the establishment of dharma. That's what Krishna is trying to do here, basically. Hare Krishna. Okay, any other questions?
Prabhuji, I have a question, but we can discuss next class. I mean, it's
No problem. Please, yeah, or maybe we can put it on the group or whatever.
I was just thinking, like there was just discussion that if a person murders somebody, then that person should be should receive the punishment so that things are sorted out in this life.
In this janma, yes.
So, abhi jaise now this Draupadi, when Ashwathama kills the sons, her 5 sons, so she dissuaded.
Dissuaded them. Yeah. No, but she actually didn't dissuade. Actually, if you see, when you
She
read
was
that particular
compassionate.
discussion in the Bhagavatam,
Okay.
she says that you have to punish him, but don't kill him. So punishment is there. Punishment is meted out, isn't it? What is the punishment
Actually, a
meted out
greater
there?
punishment. That was a greater punishment by insulting him.
Exactly. Exactly. So the concept is capital punishment does not only mean taking life. Capital punishment could mean giving the right punishment. Yeah, that's what Krishna. So if you see, interestingly, in that entire episode, Draupadi says, "Don't kill him." Arjuna asks Bhima. He says, "You have to kill him." Yeah. Then Arjuna asks Krishna, "What do I do?" Krishna says, "You should not even kill him, but still kill him." Isn't it? So he gets different advice. If you read that in this, I think in the first canto of Bhagavatam that is there. Yeah. So and then how does he execute this entire? He asks Yudhishthir, and then he says, "Okay, we have to do this. Whatever, they cut his shikha and he take his third eye or whatever money out." And that's how they basically punish him. So capital punishment is given in that sense also.
He is punished actually. Yeah. True.
Yeah.
Got it. And
But
Prabhuji,
he is severely punished actually, because
Yeah,
he was
exactly.
not given death.
Yeah, that was actually more painful. Yeah.
More exactly.
Painful, yeah.
There's one more little doubt here in this purport of text 20. I'm not able to understand it clearly. When it says that soul has no birth, okay, that we understand, but the soul has no past, present, or future. I'm not able to really explain it to myself.
Okay.
Like, how
Yeah.
does it work?
Actually, it's a very metaphysical kind of understanding. If I was reading Krishnadas, there is one very fantastic understanding here. One of the points he makes is that past, present, and future is a concept of time. Yeah. So time is only in the material world. The jiva does not belong to the material world. Yeah. Jiva is there in the spiritual world. Spiritual world, there is no concept of time. And because there is no concept of time, there is no concept of past, present, or future.
But no, Prabhuji, like,
That's one understanding.
Yeah.
Yeah, of course it is. Because we are material beings, for us to comprehend a situation where there no time exists is impossible actually. Yeah.
Would it also imply that it doesn't change?
Yes, definitely. Definitely, it also implies it doesn't change at all. Because past, presence, and future implies change because time is affecting.
They say that in the spiritual world, time is there, but it does not affect the living entities there the way it affects here.
Yes.
Yeah. So that means this past, present, or future is in context of our material existence.
Material aspect. Yes.
Time
material world aspect.
we have made.
Okay.
It's
Yeah.
man-made.
Okay, Prabhuji. Thank you.
Exactly. Hare Krishna. Very nice. Yeah. Okay, so let's close for the day. Ekam Shastram Devaki Putra Geetam Eko Devo Devaki Putra Eva Eko Mantra Tasya Namani Yani Karmapi Ekam Tasya Devasya Seva Tumeva Mata Cha Pita Tumeva Bandhushya Sakha Tumeva Vidya Dravinam Tumeva Sarvam Mama Deva Deva Krishnaya Vasudevaya Hare Paramatmane Pranata Klesha Nashaya Govindaya Namo Namah Krishnaya Vasudevaya Devaki Nandanaya Chananda Gopakumaraya Govindaya Namo Namah Vasudeva Sutam Devam Kamsa Chanuram Mardanam Devaki Paramanandam Krishna Vande Jagadguru Katyayani Mahamaye Mahayoginyadhishwari Nanda Gopasutam Devi Patim Me Kurute Namaha Sri Krishna Sharanam Mama Dasoham Krishna Tavasmi Sri Krishna Sharanam Mama Dasoham Krishna Tavasmi Sri Krishna Sharanam Mama Dasoham Krishna Tavasmi Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare श्रीमद् भगवद गीता पाठ की जय श्रीला प्रभुपाद की जय हरे कृष्णा
Prabhuji. Thank you.
हरे कृष्णा बाय
Hare Krishna Guru.
बाय बाय हरे कृष्णा
Hare Krishna Guruji, thank you.
हरे कृष्णा मत जी बाय